is one of the bills that the National Assembly has kept in its shelves for longer than it's supposed to. As I urge our counterparts to not claw back on the said provision, I also wish to state categorically that this is one of the provisions that as a committee and as a House we will not go back on. Honorable Speaker, the forum for election is not the only one where the mandate of this particular House has been undermined through statutes enacted by Parliament. There have been several attempts, some successful, where the National Assembly has moved to amend legislation to delete the word Parliament and replace it with the word National Assembly, thus taking away from the Senate functions that should otherwise be performed or undertaken by both houses. A key example, Mr. Speaker, is the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, Cap 4D, which the National Assembly amended in the year 2014 to replace references to Parliament with the word National Assembly. The effect of this, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, has been that key treaties, conventions, and agreements that Kenya enters, even when they expressly relate to devolved functions, are not submitted to or considered by the Senate. This directly undermines the constitutional mandate of the Senate as set out under Article 96, which includes to represent and protect the interests of the counties and their governments. Mr. Speaker, members will recall that on 3 separate occasions, the Senate has processed bills to reinstate the process for ratification of treaties to be a shared function between the two houses, particularly, Mr. Speaker, where such instruments directly affect the mandates, functions, and operations of county governments. None of these bills have seen the light of day in the National Assembly. This deliberate clawback on the Senate's constitutional mandate through statutes which are subsidiary to the Constitution is something that we must not countenance as a House, and we must stand ready to challenge it. Mr. Speaker, I therefore wish to bring these matters to the attention of the Senate and to urge colleagues and the House to stand firmly in safeguarding the constitutional mandate of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Chairperson ICT, your statement has been reinstated. You may now proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Information, Communication and Technology for the period commencing 1st January 2025 to date. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 9 sittings, during which it considered 1 bill, 14 statements, and 2 inquiries. Mr. Speaker, on bills, the committee considered the Technopolis Bill 2024, National Assembly Bills number 6 of 2024, which was published on 22nd February 2024 and introduced in the National Assembly on the 9th April 2024. The bill was passed with amendments on 19th November 2024 and referred to the Senate. The bill was read the first time in the Senate on Wednesday, 4th December 2024, and committed to the committee for consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, in compliance with the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Order 145(5) of the Senate Standing Orders, the committee proceeded to undertake public participation on the bill. In this regard, the committee published an advertisement on Thursday, 20th January 2025, inviting members of the public to submit written memoranda on the bill. Additionally, the committee sent invitations to key stakeholders, inviting them to submit their comments on the bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee considered the bill, taking into account the views and recommendations of the public, and will be tabling the report for adoption by the House. During consideration of the bill, the committee observed, among other things, that there is need for inclusion of the provision on public participation and consultation with relevant stakeholders likely to be affected by gazetting of an area as a technopolis. On statements, Honorable Speaker, 8 statements were ongoing from previous reporting period, and 7 statements were sought from committee during the current period. In considering the said statements, the committee considered the statements through physical sittings with the stakeholders.
Order, honorable senators.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's hear the chair. I sit in silence, please.
The committee considered the statements through physical sittings with the stakeholders and the respective senators who made the requests, while in other instances admitted written submissions and shared responses with respective senators. Mr. Speaker, sir, the statement sought by Senator Hamida Kibwana, MP, on the sale of Telkom Kenya to Infrastructure Corporation Africa was considered by the committee and included a part of the committee inquiry into the critical telecommunication infrastructure and the dispute between ATC Kenya and Telkom Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is currently following up on the several responses from the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, the Communication Authority, Safaricom Limited, and Media Council of Kenya. On inquiry, Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently conducting the following inquiries. One, inquiry into the critical telecommunication infrastructure in the country, an inquiry into operations of IFMIS and other county revenue collection and management system. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is scheduled to conduct more county visits within the coastal and Nyanza region. Honorable Speaker, the committee extends to conduct a fact-finding visit to various counties to establish the extent of the fiber optic network coverage to county headquarters, county assemblies, government offices, and schools. This is to ensure the online access to government services is available to all. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and that of the clerk of the Senate for the continuous support according to the committee in undertaking its work. Lastly, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their commitment, diligence, and contributions during the committee activities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I stand pursuant to Standing Order number 56(1)B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources during the period February to April 2025. Honorable Speaker, the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources is established under Standing Order number 2283 of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to consider all matters relating to lands and settlement, environment, forestry, wildlife, mining, water resource management and development, and also aspects of climate change. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 23 sittings, which it considered 1 bill, 7 petitions, and 1 legislative proposal, and 13 statements. Honorable Speaker, the committee held meetings with the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and the Minister of Interior and National Administration on pending legislative business before the committee. Through these meetings, the committee was able to comprehensively obtain responses on 8 statements from the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and shared them with the respective senators. There are also responses obtained from the Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage that have been dispatched to the respective senators. Honorable Speaker, it's important for the House to note that the Minister of Lands, Public Works and Housing and Urban Development has been unresponsive to a number of state invitations to appear before the committee to respond to the various legislative business pending, which includes 27 statements and 7 petitions. This has slowed down the committee's output, and the committee has since resolved to summon the Cabinet Secretary to appear before the committee, initially on the 8th of May, and now on the 14th of May, Honorable Speaker, for the aforementioned matters. In addition, written responses have been sought, with some responses still pending before the National Land Commission, and the committee is scheduled to meet the Commission on the 15th of May, that is on Thursday this week. Legislative proposal. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee considered the Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill 2024, a legislative proposal sponsored by Senator Peris Tobiko, MP, and the committee communicated back to the Speaker of its resolution on 18th of March 2025 pursuant to Standing Order number 133, number 133A of the Senate Standing Orders. Bills. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered and tabled a report on the Environmental Law Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bills number 2023 of 2024. After consideration of written submissions from the National Gender and Equality Commission, the Coast Regional Budget Hub, and Casey Walter, the committee thereafter tabled its report in the Senate on the 20th of February 2025. Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently considering one bill, the Real Estate Regulation Bill, Senate Bills number 35 of 2023. The committee previously met the Council of Governors, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, the Institute of Surveyors of Kenya, the Estate Agents Registration Board, the Kenya Alliance of Residents Associations, and the Kenya Property Developers Association. The committee is scheduled to consider the submissions and be submitting a report on the bill before the next reporting period. The Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022, is still under mediation, and the process of having the first meeting is underway. Petitions. Honorable Speaker, the committee has 9 petitions submitted to it and that are pending under consideration. The committee has since managed to consider 7 of the petitions during the reporting period, and conducted 5 county visits in Mombasa, Taita Taveta, Kisii, Homa Bay, Busia counties to conduct further investigations on the petitions. They include A, the petition concerning recognition of land ownership rights and redress of historical land injustices in Mombasa, the petition by Marungu residents within Mchange Wanda Ward, Taita Taveta County, the petition regarding land ownership dispute of Mwananchi Settlement Scheme in Mwatate constituency of Taita Taveta County, the petition on Changara Water Pan, World Bank funded project in Busia County, and the petition on a delayed allocation of alternative land by way of resettlement or compensation for the ancestral land that was alienated by the government of Kenya for Kisii Agricultural Institute and Kisii Farmers Training Center. Honorable Speaker, the committee endeavors to ensure completion of the remainder of petitions that are pending by the next reporting period as it pursues the responses from the relevant stakeholders. Statements. Honorable Speaker, cumulatively, the committee has received a total of 173 statements, of which 113 have been concluded and 60 are pending before the committee. This translates to a completion rate of 65%. The committee is yet to receive responses on some statements. During the period under review, 13 statements were considered by the committee and dispatched to the relevant senators, and a detailed analysis is annexed hereto. Given the large number of statements before the committee, a more comprehensive updated tracker is available, providing the status of the statements. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and the Office of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee and undertaking its work. Lastly, I also want to thank my members of the committee for their commitment and diligence in contributions during the committee activities. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity. Senator Abbas, is this your committee?
On behalf of Chute. Mr. Speaker, I'm reading on behalf of Chute.
Who is the chair?
Speaker, I'm reading on behalf of Senator Chute.
Yes, Senator Abbas, certainly this is not your... I'm surprised you're so willing to walk to the table. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration for the period 1st January 2025 to 30th April 2025. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration for the period of of January to April 2025. During the period under reference, the committee held 19 sittings at which it considered various legislative business, that is, statements, inquiries, and motion from the Senate, and held stakeholders' engagements as set out below. Statements. A. Statements. The committee received 4 statements and has already written to stakeholders inviting their submissions on the issues raised. The committee is at various stages of interacting with the stakeholders and preparing its response. B. Motions on the current state of the nation. The committee considered resolutions of the Senate arising from the adoption of the motion on the current state of the nation. The committee held 32 meetings. The committee held 32 meetings where it received oral submissions and written memorandum from 45 governors, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and the Public Procurement Authority. The report on the motion has been adopted by the committee and is scheduled for tabling in the month of May 2025. C. Inquiries. The committee is currently conducting an inquiry into the representation of Kenyans' diversity in the staff composition of the semi-autonomous government agencies. The committee held 17 sittings, during which 13 stakeholders appeared before it. The committee will table a comprehensive report at the end of the inquiry. Mr. Speaker, sir, county visits. This committee undertook county visits to Homa Bay and Busia counties from 28th to 30th April 2025, where it assessed the level of inclusion and representation of the workforce in terms of gender, youth, persons with disabilities, marginalized communities, and marginalized communities. The committee also inspected the county offices of the 2 counties to ascertain their accessibility to persons with disabilities. Honorable Speaker, during the remainder of the 4th session, the committee has prioritized the conclusion of legislative business before the committee, as well as the county visits. As I conclude, I wish to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the Senate for the steadfast support they have accorded this committee, as well as the members of the committee for their utmost dedication and commitment to duty. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Senator Mohamed Chute, MP Chairperson.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations for the period 25th February 2025 to 30th April 2025. Pursuant to Standing Order 56.1b of the Senate Standing Orders, Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Orders 56.1b of the Senate Standing Orders to make statement relating to activities of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations for the period of April 2025 to April 2025. The committee was reconstituted on Wednesday, 12 February 2025 and Wednesday, 19 February 2025. During the period under reference, the membership is as per Annex 1. During the period under review, the committee held 9 sittings at which it considered various legislative proposal bills, statement, petitions, motions, and held a stakeholder engagement as set out below. Mr. Speaker, legislative proposal via an email address to the Clerk of the Senate. The committee received 2 draft bills from the public, namely the Internal Security Devolution and County Empowerment Bill 2025 and the proposed Directorate of Criminal Investigation Authority Bill 2025. As part of the committee's mandate, the committee will have meetings with the relevant stakeholders to deliberate on issues touching on the legislative proposal. Bills during the reporting period, the committee considered 1 bill namely the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Bill 2024, Senate Bill number 1 of 2024. The committee sought and was granted extension of time to consider the bill, as the committee is yet to hold public participation in Meru, Embu, and coastal counties. The committee, however, received written submissions on the bill for 12 stakeholders. The committee is at the tail end of concluding consideration of the bill and will be tabling our report in the month of May 2025. Statements, there were 29 statements. The committee considered Mr. Speaker's statement during the reporting period and concluded 7 statements, while 22 statements are ongoing. A list of statements is attached as Annex 3. Petitions, Mr. Speaker, the committee is currently considering a petition concerning compensation of police officers injured in line of duty, which was redirected from the Standing Committee on Labor and Welfare and Social Welfare. The committee met with the petitioners and relevant stakeholders to deliberate on the petition. The committee is scheduled to meet with the relevant stakeholders to receive further submissions on the petition. The committee is projected to conclude the consideration within the month of May 2025. Motions, Mr. Speaker, the committee considered resolution of the Senate arising from the adoption of the motion on the current state of the nation. The committee met with the relevant stakeholders and received written submissions, and the draft report on the motion is underway. The committee will be tabling its report to the Senate during the month of May 2025. Sessional papers and policies, Mr. Speaker, the committee is currently considering 1 sessional paper during the reporting period, namely the foreign policy of the Republic of Kenya, and this is still ongoing, and the committee is scheduled to meet with relevant stakeholders in the month of June 2025 and table the report soon thereafter. The committee further, Mr. Speaker, held meeting with the Ministry of Interior, National Administration, Ministry of Defense, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, and deliberated on legislative gaps and proposals and opportunities for collaboration. The committee also is looking into allegation of corruption and mismanagement of funds pertaining to the Kenya National Police SACCO that affects the welfare of the police that falls under the committee's mandate. The detailed status of the legislative business considered by the committee during the reporting period is attached as Annex 2 to this statement. Honorable Speaker, during the remainder of the 4th session, the committee has prioritized the conclusion of legislative business before the committee, as well as the county visits. As I conclude, I wish to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the Senate for the steadfast support that they have accorded this committee, as well as the members of the committee for their utmost dedication and commitment to the duty. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable members, before I allow comments on the statements that have been sought, let's move to dispense with order number 9, and therefore I will seek to rearrange today's order paper pursuant to Standing Order 45-2. We dispense with order number 9, and then we will resume normal flow as contained in today's order paper. Clerk, proceed to call that order.
Order number 9 is motion, consolidation of bursary funds for equitable access to education in Kenya. Question to be put.
Clerk, do we have the requisite quorum? We do. Now, honorable senators, this is a matter that does not concern counties, and therefore voting shall be by voice. I will therefore proceed to put the question. That aware that pursuant to Article 53 of the Constitution, every child in Kenya is entitled to free and compulsory basic education, and the Basic Education Act provides that basic education should be guided by principles such as equitable access to all youth and equal access to education or institutions. Further, aware that many students in secondary schools and higher education institutions come from financially disadvantaged backgrounds, making it difficult for them to afford school fees and access education opportunities, noting that over years, various interventions have been made, including the issuance of bursaries through the National Government Constituency Development Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Ministry of Education and county governments through various county bursary funds, concerned that despite these efforts, school fees remain unaffordable for many parents, and the allocation of bursaries has been plagued by nepotism, favoritism, and political manipulation, lack of transparency and accountability. Further concerned that the public learning institutions are primarily funded by the government through the Ministry of Education, and in the financial year 2024-2025, approximately 656 billion Kenya shillings was allocated to the education sector, making it difficult to ascertain the specific funds granted to each student, and that the lack of transparency in the disbursement of bursaries from various agencies make it difficult to determine the total amount allocated in a financial year, thus hindering efforts to ensure equitable access to education for financially disadvantaged students. Now, therefore, the Senate urges the Minister of Education to do the following. 1, audit the funds allocated to bursaries by both the national government and the county governments. 2, consolidate the funds distributed by various government entities and agencies with the aim of directing these funds directly to schools as supplementary capitation to facilitate the achievement of free secondary education. And 3, calculate the cost of education per learner and make this information public for primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, including a detailed breakdown of the annual financial requirements of each student across the country. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now, before I allow comments on the statements, Honorable Senators, let me pass this communication first. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from St. Francis Katangi Boys in Machakos County. The delegation comprises 2 teachers and 49 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I do not see the Senator for Machakos in the House. I will therefore allow the Majority Leader under 1 minute to extend a word of welcome to the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my colleagues and the House of the Senate, I do welcome these students that have visited with us this afternoon. I hope they get full value of their time and money that they've spent to visit the Senate. This is their home in the future, and therefore they should take interest in the affairs of their countries with specific focus on counties, because that's a primary and the raison d'etre of this House of the Senate. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, that as they travel back to Machakos, they'll give a good account. It's sad, though, that they have come on an afternoon of less drama and just reports and a very orderly House. I know sometimes they watch the things that happen here and they'd have wished to see part of it. It's not the end of the day yet, and things sometimes boil from 0 to 100 in seconds in this House. So in the few minutes that they're still around, Mr. Speaker, something may happen. Who knows? All the best to the young students. May they conquer the world. I thank you.
Now we're back to comments on the statements that have been sought. Well, I will allocate 15 minutes for us to make comments. If you get an opportunity to speak, kindly keep it under 3 minutes. Senator Fonandi.
Mr. Speaker, for the first time, I'm proud by the statement of the chairperson of Iebc, where I did serve with distinction in the last session, Mr. Speaker, although I encountered some turbulence along the way. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the issue of IEBC, the reading of Article 93 is very clear, that Parliament comprises both the Senate and the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sorry, the issue, and I was shocked, Mr. Speaker, yesterday when the National Assembly gave notice for public to submit memoranda to the National Assembly Jailer Committee. Mr. Speaker, the election is a matter of national concern. Members of Parliament, which is the Senate and the National Assembly, are the representatives of the people, Mr. Speaker. We have done joint vetting before of Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker. We have done vetting of joint independent services, Mr. Speaker. Why is it that the National Assembly wants to frustrate the Senate by only purporting that they can vet the chairperson and members of IEBC? So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Committee of JLAC for standing strong, Mr. Speaker. And you have to appreciate, and I want to challenge the House leadership and SBC, where you sit as the chair, that, Mr. Speaker, I am aware that there are a number of legislations from this House that are being strategically frustrated by the National Assembly because they fear to implement the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the amendment of the regulations, in 2013, the Senate was not supposed to be part because we were never in existence. So after 2013, when the Senate came into force and reading of Article 93, the role of vetting of IEBC should be a joint committee of the Senate JLAC and the National Assembly JLAC, Mr. Speaker. Even when you read under Article 88 on establishment of IEBC, Mr. Speaker, we must and we should not allow the National Assembly to vet on their own the IEBC chairperson and IEBC commissioners, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are not short of weapons to use to ensure that the voice of the Senate, which is the voice of the people, can be heard, Mr. Speaker. And even possibility of seeking the legal interventions in the courts of law, Mr. Speaker. So I want to agree with the Committee of the JLAC and say kudos for the good job. Mr. Speaker, we have been taken far too long for a ride by the National Assembly. We are also elected by Kenyans. More so, we cover more, Mr. Speaker, in this country. And therefore, the issue of IEBC concerns both houses and Kenyans as alike, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I hope the National Assembly must withdraw the notice that they have issued in public for memorandum to be submitted until we jointly agree as the House, Mr. Speaker, so that we can do vetting of IEBC chairperson and commissioners, knowing the urgency of the matter, Mr. Speaker. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of ICT, thank you.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also join in making comments on the statements by Senator Catherine Muma on the issue of data protection abuse by those mobile phone lenders, the people who lend mobile phones or who give hire purchase services on mobile phones. Mr. Speaker, I think we are continually receiving complaints around the issue of data protection. And we must ask ourselves where we are going wrong as a nation. Just the other day, Mr. Speaker, you saw the ruling by the courts on the issue of WorldCoin, where the courts ruled that there was a violation of data protection rights by a WorldCoin company. Question is, how did this company get into this country and started taking data from our people? There is a problem, Mr. Speaker, which must be addressed. And speaking as an expert, I want to say that maybe it's an opportunity for us to have a relook at the entire Data Protection Act, because that is where we have inconsistencies. I have noted inconsistencies even in the way the Office of Data Protection Commission is being managed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the ideal person to head the Office of the Data Protection must be someone who understands the technology, IT. We cannot just be giving every job that comes in the public sector to lawyers. We need to review this so that we give it to people who understand the process. And Mr. Speaker, even speaking about this, the regulators in the ICT industry are failing this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just this week I heard that the Communication Authority has increased spectrum licenses by 2,000%, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is going to drive out of business telecommunication operators, including Safaricom. And they are doing this for the purpose of generating funds for the government. But what about the implication on the economy, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, it's a high time that this sector must be manned by people who understand technology. At CA, the Director General is a journalist. The chairman is a business woman who does not understand technology. Mr. Speaker, I think the IT committee must look at this issue of competence and leadership in the
Senator Mundigi, Senator Mungatana, Senator Gloria Oroba. Senator Professor Tomo Jenda, Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi pia nachukua fursa hii kuongeza kauli yangu juu ya taarifa iliyoletwa na mwenyekiti wa kamati ya sheria, haki za binadamu kuhusiana na uteuzi wa makamishna wa IEBC. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama inavyojulikana kuwa IEBC ni kiungo muhimu cha uchaguzi katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Na makamishna hawa na mwenyekiti wao watakapofanya kazi yao itawahusisha kuchaguliwa kwa rais, kuchaguliwa kwa magavana, kuchaguliwa kwa maseneta, kuchaguliwa kwa wabunge wa bunge la kitaifa na vile vile pia wabunge wa bunge la kaunti. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, uteuzi wao lazima upitie katika bunge la Senate, kwa sababu Senate ndio inalinda maslahi ya ugatuzi, ndio inalinda maslahi ya mabunge ya kaunti, inalinda maslahi ya magavana. Kwa hivyo haiwezekani kwamba sheria ambayo inatumika kuwachagua ni ile sheria ambayo ilifanywa kabla ya kuwa na katiba mpya ya ugatuzi. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, natoa kauli yangu kusindikiza kwamba lazima uteuzi wa makamishna wale ufike katika bunge la Senate ili kuona kwamba haki inatendeka katika uteuzi huo. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the statement by Senator Muma on the need to protect data in this country. It is imperative that at the time when data is the most expensive asset that anyone can have, we are not protecting the poor people who cannot be able to afford buying a phone and not have to register it. I think the key most important thing we need to do is to ask ourselves whether it is imperative for this House and the National Assembly to be able to re-amend the Data Protection Act. We have to amend this Data Protection Act and be specific and also be intentional when it comes to the issue of guarding. When you hear that those who cannot afford to buy phones in full prices are buying the phones on credit, and then that data is now sold to a third party, it really begs the question on what do we really need to do. One of my biggest pet peeves, Mr. Speaker, is when you are sitting down here, you find a telemarketer sending you a text message, telling you to buy bundles using the following shortcode. I think we need to relook at the whole issue of data protection in this country. Even the basic request for an ID number when you're going to deposit money in your Safaricom, when you're going there and then that record is kept there, we should ask ourselves whether we have to redefine the law to be able to make it difficult for people to just have to ask for your ID number and they write it down there. I think we need to be more creative and say you can give the last 4 digits of your number, or these telecommunication companies come up with a more smarter way of protecting your data. They can actually demand that you give them the 3rd, 4th, or the last digit of your ID number instead of having to give out the full ID number. So this statement, I hope the Committee on ICT will take it seriously. Because today, it is that poor farmer or that poor mamamboga who cannot afford to buy a phone full price, whose data is being sold. Tomorrow, it is you, the legislator, sitting here who can be able to afford a 200,000 shilling phone with your name being used to register a phone number and then being used for fraud. So it is imperative. And we also must ask ourselves whether we need to limit the number of phone numbers people can have. Because you will find one person, the ID number has been used to register 20 lines. If you follow those 20 lines, Mr. Speaker, you'll be shocked. In some counties, we know people collect revenue using those 20 numbers, and then they just throw them away.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, apologies, let me use this. Oh yeah, it's okay. Mr. Speaker, data protection is a very serious issue. And I know this because many times when we've passed legislation that allows government to acquire data from citizens, Mr. Speaker, we have always had a conversation as a House on the importance to ensure that storage of this data guarantees the protection of privacy. Mr. Speaker, a trend is emerging nowadays where personal data is being shared, including of public officials, with no repercussions or recourse whatsoever from the Office of the Data Commissioner. Many people don't know that even a PO box address is private data. Even a mobile phone number, Mr. Speaker, with all this trend that you're seeing nowadays of if I disagree with Senator Catherine Muma, I post her number online and say, oh, I don't know, do this or the other to her. That is violation of data privacy, Mr. Speaker. And we do not see any recourse or guidance on such issues, Mr. Speaker, from the Office of the Data Commissioner. Given, Mr. Speaker, that this matter that is being raised is specific, yet there are quite a number of violations that have happened the last few days, would I be in order if I request the ICT committee, Mr. Speaker, to guide us in ensuring that we have the Office of the Data Protection Office, Mr. Speaker, perhaps make an appearance before that particular committee, or even the committee of the whole, Mr. Speaker, so that we can find ways in which we ensure that data of citizens are protected from whatever people that may want to use it for whatever reason, including fraudsters, Mr. Speaker, or people that even want to use it for political reasons, because a violation is a violation, Mr. Speaker. And there have been continuous violations over the last few months with very little efforts, Mr. Speaker, or guidance from the Data Commissioner. Actually, that's a person that I was looking for. Thank you, Senator Cherargei. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I expect that Senator Alan Chesang, together with the ICT team, will lead us into making proper findings so that as we pass future legislation, Mr. Speaker, we can secure data of citizens and ensure that those who breach privacy are punished by law. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mogene.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me an opportunity to also make my contribution to the statements issued by the respective chairman. But, Mr. Speaker, there is one that has caught my attention. While contributing, I heard Senator Cherargei state that the approval of nominees to Iebc should be processed by the National Assembly and referred to the Senate for approval. Mr. Speaker, this issue is one that we should address honestly and consciously.